Have you ever wondered what lurks in the darkest corners of the internet? Here on Umbra, we uncover unexplained and mystical stories that leave more questions than answers. Today, we embark on a chilling journey through the mysterious tales of Reddit that will challenge your perception of reality. Get ready for stories that will send shivers down your spine, and join us in unraveling their secrets. The strange disappearance of my best friend.
I have a story that has been haunting me for several years. It's about how my best friend vanished without a trace and the mysteries that were left unanswered. It all started 4 years ago. My friend's name was Alex. We had been friends since childhood and were always inseparable. One day he told me he was going to spend the weekend at an old family cottage out of town. He often went there to be alone with nature and escape the hustle and bustle of the city. But this time something went wrong. On Monday, I was waiting for his call to discuss our plans for the following week, but the phone was silent. I didn't think much of it at first, as Alex might have simply been delayed. But the next day I started to worry. I called him, but his phone was off. I decided to go to the cottage myself to make sure he was all right. When I arrived, the house was empty. Everything was in its place. Even his favorite jacket was hanging on the hook by the door. It seemed like he had just stepped out for a minute and would be back any moment. But he was nowhere to be found. I contacted the police and they began an investigation. Weeks passed and then months, but there were no traces of Alex. It seemed as if he had simply vanished. I couldn't accept this and started my own investigation. In the village near the cottage, people avoided talking to me as if they knew something but were afraid to share. One evening while I was at the cottage again, I found a strange metal box under the porch. It looked modern and didn't fit with the rest of the setting. Inside were various photographs and notes in a language I didn't recognize. Among the photographs was Alex, standing among unfamiliar people in strange clothes. I was shocked and scared. The more I looked at these photos, the more questions I had. Who were these people and why did they have Alex? Several more months passed and I began to slowly recover. One evening, while I was sitting at home, there was a knock on the door. I opened it and saw Alex. He looked thin, but he was alive. He didn't remember what had happened to him, but said he had been locked in some dark place all this time. We never found out the whole truth. Who were those people and why did they take Alex? Why was he returned? We still live in fear that it might happen again, but one thing I know for sure. Our lives will never be the same. That's my story. Be careful and take care of your loved ones. You never know what secrets might be hiding near you.
A strange supermarket where you can't leave.
I want to share a strange story with you that happened to me recently. Honestly, I still can't understand what it was or how to explain it all. So it started like this. That evening, I was coming home around 1 in the morning. I walk this route every day and know it like the back of my hand. But this time, everything was different. At the intersection where there's usually an empty building, there was suddenly a huge supermarket with a sign that read Mega Market. It definitely wasn't there before, I'm sure. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to go inside. The store looked quite ordinary, rows of groceries, carts, but there were no customers at all. I took a basket and went to the produce section. After putting a couple of apples in the basket, I noticed that the store seemed much bigger inside than it appeared from outside. The shelves seemed endless, and the further I went, the more I felt a sense of lost time and space. I tried to head back to the exit, but it seemed like I was only getting further away. After a while, I realized I was lost. The store was a huge labyrinth. The clocks on the walls showed different times, and the silence around me became oppressive. I tried everything, going straight, turning right, left, but it was all in vain. I started to panic. My phone had no signal, and it was beginning to feel like a nightmare. After some time, I heard rustling and footsteps somewhere behind the shelves. I thought it might be a security guard or a store employee, but no one appeared. The footsteps grew louder and closer, and I realized that someone or something was watching me. It felt like I was stuck there for 3 to 4 hours before I found the exit. Fatigue and hunger were starting to take over, and I decided I needed to try something different. At some point, I noticed that the clocks on the walls were ticking backwards. Out of boredom and desperation, I decided to try walking backwards, not even thinking it might help. At first, nothing happened, but then I noticed familiar places appearing more frequently, and finally, I saw the light and the exit. Stepping outside, it felt like an eternity had passed. When I got home, my parents met me in a panic. It turned out I had been gone for 2 whole days. Friends and family thought I had just been out partying and lost track of time, but I know it was real. Something or someone in that store didn't want to let me go. So if you ever come across a new supermarket that you haven't noticed before, think twice before going in. You might end up somewhere not so easy to get out of.
Strange incident with my girlfriend's twin sister.
I've always thought that having a twin sister was something special. My girlfriend Lisa often told me how she and her twin sister Emma were inseparable as children. They were mirror images of each other, sharing all their secrets and understanding each other without words. But the more I got to know them, the stranger everything became. Emma was always more outgoing and sociable. She attracted people while Lisa preferred to stay in the shadows. But by their 18th birthday, I noticed something had changed. Emma started to withdraw, spending more time in her room. She often looked at herself in the mirror as if trying to understand something. When Lisa asked her about it, Emma would just shrug and say she felt different. Lisa decided not to press the issue. Honestly, I was skeptical. It all sounded like typical teenage angst. Who hasn't gone through weird phases in life? When Lisa told me about Emma's odd behavior, I thought it was just stress from finishing school and applying to university. Some events I only know from Lisa's words, but their plausibility is unsettling. One night, Lisa woke up with a strange feeling. Opening her eyes, she saw Emma standing over her bed, her face illuminated by the moonlight. Her eyes were vacant and she whispered, "Have you ever felt like you're not yourself?" These words sent a shiver down Lisa's spine. She told Emma to go back to bed, but the words lingered in her mind. A few weeks later, Lisa started noticing other oddities. Emma's reflection in the mirror seemed off. It was like a delay in a video. Her movements were a split second behind. Lisa thought it was her imagination, but then she noticed that Emma's reflection would smile when Emma herself was not. She tried to convince herself it was a trick of the light, but an inner voice told her something was wrong. When Lisa told me about it, I laughed. It sounded like a made-up story, a result of stress and exhaustion. But one day, Lisa decided to clean Emma's room and came across her diary. The entries were disturbing. Emma wrote about feeling watched from inside, as if another version of herself was trapped in the mirror. She described dreams where she was the reflection, tapping on the glass, trying to switch places with the Emma outside. One entry stood out. "Last night, I think I finally broke through." That night, Lisa decided to talk to Emma. Emma denied everything, but her eyes, those same vacant eyes, told a different story. Lisa decided to keep a closer watch on her. A month passed and things seemed to calm down. But one night I heard a crash from the bathroom. We rushed in to find Emma lying on the floor, shards of mirror scattered around. She looked at us and I felt a jolt of terror. Her eyes were not her own. They were Lisa's eyes, filled with fear and confusion. She whispered, "It's me, Emma. She's taken me." We didn't know what to believe, but the girl standing before us, claiming to be Emma, knew things only Emma could know. Their secret codes, childhood memories no one else could have known. We talked for hours, and I realized the truth. The reflection had switched places with the real Emma. We decided to act. We couldn't let the sister remain trapped. We studied ancient myths and legends, trying to find a way to reverse the situation. We discovered a ritual involving mirrors and moonlight, a risky procedure that could either save her or trap us all. We waited for the next full moon. The air was thick with tension as we performed the ritual. When the clock struck midnight, I saw Emma's reflection in the mirror, the real Emma, desperately trying to break through. Lisa grabbed her hand and a blinding light flashed. When I came to, I was on the bathroom floor, Lisa and Emma beside me. The mirror was whole and Emma was back. We hugged tightly, tears streaming down our faces. She was safe. We were safe. But something had changed since then. We never spoke of that night again. The mirror was covered and we moved on with our lives, but sometimes I notice my reflection watching me too closely and I swear I see the shadow of a girl, trapped and waiting for her chance to switch places again. Recently, Lisa has been waking up more often in the middle of the night, staring at the mirror as if something is bothering her. And then one day she told me that she started seeing her eyes in Emma's reflection again. What really happened that night? Did Emma truly come back? And what if the reflection is still here, watching and waiting? We don't have the answers, and maybe it's better that way.
Thank you for joining us on Umbra, where we explore hidden and mysterious truths. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on new mystical stories. Share your thoughts and your own unexplained experiences in the comments below. Until next time, remember, the truth is always out there, lurking in the shadows.